Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly referee today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Mongoose Publishing's... Mongoose Publishing's second edition science fiction RPG Traveler. And I have my limited edition, kept having the fucking corners coming off, so I've got my new non-falling apart copy. We are playing through a modified version of their really cool Borderland Run module. So if you are intending on joining us today, then just be aware that there will be spoilers in this session for that adventure. So if you are going to play it, or if you're going to play it, I guess the only reason you wouldn't want to watch, then proceed with caution. But if otherwise, let me introduce you to the stars of today's session, the crew of the Rift Wanderer. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up, we've got James.
Hi, I'm James. I'm playing Captain Gani of the Villani, co-owner and captain of the Rift Wanderer.
Very nice. Next up is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm playing Dane Loverick, who is a former Imperial Marine Force commander who is trying to let all that go and failing very badly.
And next up is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David, and I'm playing Dr. Ilyas Abdel, a brilliant physician who recently came face to face with his past and what could have been him, but thankfully isn't.
Yeah, and last but certainly not least is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Alonzo. He is a journalist and would-be author.
Nice. So last session was a pretty eventful one as far as getting Dane to make use of some of his highest skills. So what happened last time, guys? Let's see if I can bring you over to some visual aids here. Here we go. Well, there's that, and let's start there. So what happened last time?
We went around, had a lot of thinking about things, but in the end decided on the direct route where we went in our air car, landed on a roof, and Dane and then later Gani took pot shots at various robots outside.
Yeah. The Judico drones. Judico drones. Sometimes they're not great.
So
and the reason you were on the planet, why were you on this planet in the first place?
Oh.
Or back on Tech World, I should say, because this was Tech World.
Well, we had received a signal using a very unusual Ancients-related sort of code saying help, asking for help. And we thought it was something to do with the rival of Dr. Ilyas, and in a way it was. But we felt we had to come and investigate. So that's what drew us down there. And
Which
we
was
thought
a
it was
shame,
in this office, well, in this weird complex.
Yeah, it's a classic sort of out of the way, in the remote wilderness of Tech World, independent laboratory where Dr. Bancroft, Dr. Ilyas's competitor, rival, Shadow, evil Shadow, was operating a number of, as it turned out, as anticipated, slightly on the edge experimentation, of which we discovered that it wasn't actually Dr. Bancroft who was asking for our help. We thought initially it might be Dr. Bancroft who had been in some way captured or was incarcerated in some kind of way, but no, it wasn't him at all. It was it was his patient, his subject, his created or slave. Somebody, something created that, given the ancients' style of communication that came through, or something that was really very, very unusual, this person is extraordinarily unusual, and seems hyper competent in a range of fields, and quietly confident in their own being, and grateful for us to have come to effectively rescue them. And so it is we're taking them with us, not leaving them to anything that Dr. Bancroft may wish to do, which probably is going to set back his portfolio and work by a number of decades. But there we are.
I just realized our campaign is slowly becoming a space outlaw Josie Wales.
Although it does say in the chat log, explosives. They were not deployed on this occasion.
No.
Various options were considered.
Yeah, of how to cover the rescue of... and do you guys recall the name that your new passenger gave you?
Ultima 1.
Thank you. Get that on the log.
We fairly certain it's not their real or their original nomenclature, but it's what Dr. Bancroft called them, and they seem to be happy to keep that for now. So,
yeah.
We had various ideas about how to deal with Dr. Bancroft, ranging from the very terminal to the very explosive. And I think in the end we decided to put him on ice for a few decades, or keep him sort of cryogenically frozen while the installation runs itself. So hopefully no one will become aware of what has happened here for a long time, and will be far, far away.
Dr. Bancroft did help us in one small way, which was we learned that Dane can take a laser blast to the chest. So,
yeah, thank goodness for polycarbon armor. But I mean, Ultima 1, all in good time. Now is not the time. But Ultima 1 raises a whole bank of questions that we would, I'm sure, all be fascinated to understand the answers, and maybe over time we will start to unravel some of the questions that Ultima 1 brings with them. We're wondering basically what they are, how they were created, how they were found. I'm less interested in how they were planned to be exploited, but that's was clearly on the cards. But does this actually take us in a new direction once we've fulfilled our current assignment? Interesting, and I'm sure more to be discovered as our episodes continue.
Yes. So that is where I'll bring us back to. Let's see. We'll go back to the Rift Wanderer itself. Here we go. And then I need to make room to add a new crew member here too. I really should have mentioned Outlaw Josie Wells. I'm pretty sure I need to watch it again now today. Man's got to do something for a living. Here we go. Yeah, let's do that. We'll put Tila Toral up there. And then we'll put Ultima 1 down here. All right. Okay.
So, for Jeff, who doesn't know this world very much, is Ultima 1 like extremely rare? Like this is like not something that exists in this universe?
There's nothing, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just want to be clear with that.
Yeah.
They're a combination of possibly once human super advanced DNA and super advanced android robotic integration. They can look at computers and just make them work. They're one of a kind as far as we are aware.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things in the conceits in the setting is that, like a lot of sci-fi settings that have a ancient species that fucked around with other lesser species to explain why there's humans on other planets and stuff, this setting has something called the Ancients, And it's an ongoing secret. And in fact, there's like a 3-part mega campaign that deals just with kind of like characters unraveling some of the secrets of the ancients.
Okay, yeah.
It is perhaps not the height of creativity that they named the adventure Secrets of the Ancients. So,
it does what it says on the tin.
it does exactly what it says in the tin, which is, you know, really in keeping with a game called Traveler, where you play travelers, and what you do is... So, that is your addition to the crew. Ultima 1 seems to have this ancients technology in it. It's exactly as Dr. Elias has said. And I'm trying to think if he shared anything else. Oh, it was Giudico that captured him. And it was Giudico that turned him over to Dr. Bancroft. Giudico! How else are we going to learn? And profit. So that means as I said, they've left Dr. Bancroft effectively in low berth, so he's in cryogenic storage for the foreseeable future. I think you guys have it for like 12 months, didn't you?
Yeah, but the electricity bill runs out after 11, so he's got problems.
Yeah, it was one of the potential plans. It was the laboratory was set up in kind of the base of a atmospheric reclamator or atmospheric processor, and it was tapping power from that. And one of the plans was to blow up the atmospheric processor and make it look like the lab went up with it. They found an alternative plan, less showy, but no less effective. So, we also there was a bunch of gear that you guys were able to scavenge, or not scavenge, but recover from there too, and that we talked about in Discord. I'm assuming you're taking all the gear that you could carry, but the two things that you also had available was that nurse bot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was a G-bike.
Oh, we like that too.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the weight is.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Anyone who, grew up around the
Wild.
Return of the Jedi era, I think. And I don't know if you guys... I was at the right age for when that film came out and the corresponding toys with the exploding speeder bike that would send your figure. My cousins and I got that, and I'm pretty sure we broke the mechanisms pretty fucking quickly with that.
So the G-bike is half a ton.
Sorry?
For shipping. Oh, no, sorry, that's not, but... Oh, that's how much shipping it can handle, sorry.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
I'm looking at wrong speed.
I like the use of the word recovered. I think that's so nice and euphemistic.
You guys haven't been charged with anything yet, so, Space Court will be Arc 2 of our campaign. All right. I'm trying to remember, how did we find out the weight of the air car before?
The air car's in High Guard, I think. Or it's in the core rulebook as well.
The core. Yeah.
Oh, shipping is what it is. Yeah. Shipping is, so it is a half ton. If you're shipping it, that's how much it takes up. And the cargo is negligible. Okay. So it's a half ton. Do you guys have a half ton to spare?
We can make some space.
Truly most reliable mail carriers. Dumping the shit.
All of these letters to Santa are just out.
I'm going to have to look at the Rift Wanderer's accounts. Here we go. We're going to have to get rid of some freight.
Really?
Well, I don't know. What's our cargo capacity? 64?
64.
Cargo is 64, and...
All right. We have 5 tons free.
Oh, okay. There we go. Wait,
We've got 20
is that...
tons of mail and 39 tons of freight.
Does that include the air car, though?
Does not include the air car.
Ah, okay. Then, because the air car, I think, is either 4 or 5.
That might explain it.
The air car is 4 tons, but if you have 5 to spare,
Oh, you have 5 to spare.
Just.
You can just barely fit it in there.
You.
This is, again, a little too personal. This is dad packing for camping. It's like, no, we got room. We got room in here. Okay. Then so you're adding that to your collection and the medical facility. Where on earth are you going to set up all this stuff, Dr. Ilias?
Excellent question.
We
How much
have no
space
passengers.
turn one of the spare cabins into a sort of makeshift med bay with the nurse bot.
You could do that. Yeah. It would mean you would need to bring anyone in need of medical care up the stairs, but I suppose if they get injured on the top, you'd have to bring them down the stairs, so it's 50-50.
Yeah, I'll have to get a pulley or something, winch them up.
Okay. And when do you want to introduce Ultima 1 to Tila Toral?
We'll leave that to Dane because they're buds. He'll just threaten Tunatora a bit and then it'll all be good.
So he need not eat. He needs power to recharge, but he needs not eat.
Okay. I'll put him on standby then.
Whoa.
Have we got an adapter for him?
He can operate. Let me see here. Oh, he actually may recharge on his own. It's just that he
uses lightning.
Yeah.
Is it like wireless recharging? He can just sit
Basically,
somewhere?
yeah.
Okay.
But he can operate for 259 hours without needing to recharge.
Wow.
Not bad.
Yeah, Jeff. He's also got. He can actively camouflage himself. He has some advanced features from being an android, highly advanced auditory sensors. He can camouflage himself from olfactory and visual sensors. He's got grippers for attaching to the outside of things, an enormous amount of radiation protection, built-in wireless transceiver, vacuum protection, a vocoder that can activate or that can transmit different voices and different imitations. Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Wireless link. So, depending on which you guys wish to have him specialize in, he has an enormous amount of flexibility and is an eager to prove his thanks to you for freeing him from Dr. Bancroft. One other thing that he mentioned is, or I'm not sure if he mentioned it explicitly, but he seemed to allude to the fact that he doesn't really view time the way you guys do. So if he needs to take a decade to thank you, just blink of an eye for him. So,
Of course.
So how do you wish to introduce Ultima 1 to the Toral, if you do, and if not, where would you like him to be? He is well-rounded in his skills, so he can aid in the station, he can occupy a crew role, whatever you guys would like.
What do we need him for? Is there a specific role? I'd like to say turret gunner, but I don't seem to have any.
Captain, you have any preference for what responsibility you wish to put on Ultima 1's shoulders?
I guess he could. Is sensors? Is it something? This is something. Oh,
I think Dr. Ilias has been your sensor
pretty good,
operator.
Exactly so.
Alonso,
We
I
don't
think,
really
has
have
been
any
your
gaps at the
comm
moment.
operator. You've been doing engineering. Anchor has been the pilot, and Dane has been ready to provide security when
psychopath.
necessary.
Yeah.
So we're kind of got it covered.
We have. I'm just thinking he may be called if we need to do any emergency battlefield repairs during any engagement.
You can also, sounds like, pretty much back any of us up as far as like be, ready to take any station if we need, better than we can.
He's our backup. The fireman.
Okay.
I mean, Dr.
And
Ilias
also,
isn't
if one of our
precious.
crew is occupied that week, he can step in.
Sorry, Dr. Ilias?
Dr. Ilias isn't precious, so if Ultima 1 is better at sensors than he is, he will happily, part of medical training is stepping aside to let a specialist do their thing.
It's computers, right?
Yeah, computer sensors.
So you can have a 4 in it, and then his attribute bonus would be...
Dr. Ilias is a better man than Captain Gani, who will sulk majorly.
And a +3, so he's got a net +7.
Oh.
And I'm not even going to ask about engineering because I really don't want to know.
Well,
Ilias has a net +3, so he will happily let Ultima 1 do their
Rather
thing.
ruefully, Dane will ask Ultima 1, can you blow things up?
+12.
Directly or indirectly?
I was thinking indirectly, but I'm interested in either response.
I certainly have experience with such things.
Oh, so just not just knowledge, but experience. We'll talk about that again. Thank you.
Good. Anything else?
Yeah.
So we can picture you guys are going back. Who is piloting the G-bike back to the ship?
Who wants to do the Wild Rider?
I'm assuming the grav car was actually, or air car was actually Captain Gani's. So you're piloting that. Who has been eager to get on a G-bike?
No one's really excited.
I cannot. Obviously, my next experience spend is going to be drive grav vehicle, but I haven't got it now.
I'm assuming you have basic proficiency with it, so long as you don't need to be, you don't run into any trouble. One of the upsides with the technology that's this advanced is that the AI or the driving companion, the autopilot, is sufficient enough for the most basic of traversing.
And to compensate for your floundering.
In that case, you take the
Aircraft?
grav car, air car back, and I'll take the bike.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've got a 2 in grav vehicles.
The aircraft is
fantastic.
fast, but the G-bike is very fast.
So good stuff. I'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, we'll see you there.
So very fast is between 500 and 800 kilometers per hour.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick. It's pretty quick.
Okay. So you're able to get back to the ship before anyone else, Captain. You bring the thing in. Have you restricted to Littoral's access to anything? I'm curious what he would be doing. He may be monitoring the sensors while you guys are gone. He is more familiar with Aslan technology than he is with human technology, but I mean, if he wants to make sure that, if he needs to hide or needs to run or whatnot, that would be the way to do it, rather than sit in your hold and hope that the people who come back are your companions. But
That would have been a very good, sensible thing, but no.
Yeah, I'm going to say I don't think we're restricted, but although logically we should probably. There should be some protocols to restrict bridge controls to anyone outside the crew.
You guys are arriving in the Argona system. Okay, we just had one person try and sabotage this who we did not know was a passenger. We need to make sure this doesn't happen again. Cut to 1 month later. Okay, we have just had someone trying to sabotage us. Well, you
Who
do
did the risk
have.
assessment? Who did the risk assessment?
You have a portable densitometer now, so you would, if you had made use of that correctly, you would have detected those hidden weapons.
Oh, well, okay. Next time then.
Next time, yeah. Your baggage scan is going to put the TSA to real shame here now. You have a wide variety of sensors to detect that, but in any event, then what I think would happen is when you come back into the hold, Captain Gani, you would be greeted by Tila Toral. And I don't think he... Ooh. Did you guys restrict his access to the weapons locker? You would have actually had to give him access to that, I imagine.
We didn't say that we gave him access to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd assume we have that locked.
You're the lawyer, so you tell us what.
My entire job is people doing what they said they were not supposed to do. So, you know.
Okay.
What you should do and what you do is a wholly different thing.
All right.
That's the other part. If people could agree with one another, or if they did what they said they were going to do, I would have no job. But fortunately, we are all flawed creatures. So, speaking of flawed creatures, then when you come in, Captain Gani, would you give us a recon check, please?
Oh,
I gotta grab
I won't notice.
Let's see here.
Well, here we go. It's a roll.
I
grab my
need
TAS
I've got to
dice.
spend. I've got to spend
Oh
some
yeah,
of these.
everyone, give us a
skill
D6
points.
roll. Let's see how much luck you've got.
Oh yeah, I forgot about luck. Oh, non big numbers. Oh.
Oh. Okay. So then, Captain Gani, give us a D6 roll as well. That is 6, 7 so far.
Come on, 6. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so definitely need to make sure we've got some combat today.
And I definitely got to spend some XP on recon.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. Like, you may be just the rush of getting here with this thing. I think, as is customary to... Oh, we already established this last time. Your Isadora Duncan scarf is already established fiction. So you're racing along. Wow, your goggles on. At 500 to 800 kilometers an hour, I imagine there is a rebreather or oxygen mask required as well.
Better be.
Yeah. So you arrive, and as you come on... where are you planning on, like, you probably got a narrow space set aside for where you're going to store this thing, like maybe behind where the air raft is? Presumably you put all the cargo around where the vehicles are?
Yeah, so then the air car will be next to the exit, and then I'll be able to just put it in at that side of the garage.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. You start doing like garage tricks and having bikes hanging from the ceiling on racks stuff. You are positioning this thing over, trying to get it flush against the wall to maximize the amount of space. Technically, you really could fit a second one in here, so, something to consider for future. And that's when you hear a sort of low rumble, a growl deep in barrel chest. And you look over and you can see Tila Toral is there, and it has like a wrench or some kind of pry bar or something, but it's at now a relaxed position, and he says, "It's you."
Yep, it's me. And
I saw someone approaching on an unfamiliar vehicle.
Yes, we've just got hold of this rather nice grav bike. I'm most entertained by it.
You were
like
going
it?
to assist someone.
Yes, Dr. Ilias. He had a friend, a colleague, who had an establishment a few clicks from here. And when we got there, this colleague had been... he'd actually been holding someone prisoner. So we've released that person, and we're bringing them back to the ship. But don't worry, we've not done anything with the miscreant. He's still fine. But we felt that we had to release this this individual. So they're just coming on the air raft as we speak.
Well, they'll be here. You're going to have some time. You're at 500, 800 kilometers an hour. They're at like 200, so you're 4 times faster than what they are. I mean, it won't be long because it's 10-kilometer distance you guys have to cover. But
and I did spend a couple of minutes admiring the bike once I got off it.
oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you found him right away. He was ready to ambush whoever it was that was on this thing. So he says, the doctor's colleague, was he a spy?
He was more of an unethical scientist. But not a spy. To the best of my knowledge, anyway. But either way, a disreputable man. A dishonorable man, one might say.
And he lives.
He does, but he is restrained for the foreseeable future, so he won't be doing any more harm.
He studies you. He will not.
We thought killing him might draw unwarranted attention while we complete our mission with yourself.
Will he be discovered before we reach Tyok?
I doubt it very much.
This prisoner you rescued, will they need medical attention?
Strangely not. But we think he might be an asset to the ship, so we shall see. You will meet him shortly. He is hard to describe.
Growls
Best
low.
you see him with your own eyes.
A human?
No. More of an artificial being. If you have such things in the Aslan hierarchy.
We do. I owned several war droids.
Yeah, so this one seems to be really rather intelligent and capable. There seems to be some very high technology at work here. But
this new...
even for Tech World.
You think him a product of this?
No, I think there's a mystery around him.
So he was a prisoner not only of Dr. Ilias's nemesis, but also of Tech World.
Yes. And probably that damn Judico. You know what they're like.
Judico. You know what we're like. Do you... This is your vessel, Captain. How would you propose I interact with this new passenger?
I leave it to you. If you prefer to be kept out of sight, we can accommodate that. But otherwise, the impression I have is that he's honest. And I try to be a judge of character in my time in the Navy and the Scouts. It's amazing the people you can meet and who can become a surprising asset.
I would agree.
I have a good feeling about this.
Your comment, your observation that actions on which we should judge others. You with a single cry for help, went, risked yourselves, rescued a prisoner, and then offered them a home. This tells me you will either keep your agreement to get me safely to Tyok, or you are empathetic to a reckless degree. Perhaps both.
It was important to Dr. Ilias, who is one of our family, and we have to do what is of benefit to the family. That is what got me through the Navy, and I found it put me in good stead through life, so there you go. Honor your contracts and honor your family.
His shoulders kind of slump a bit. Honor your family. Yes. If you trust them, then I will. I am trusting you and your judgment and that of your crew. Do what you will with this prisoner. To you. You need not keep me a secret.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
He nods to you. Would you have one of the quarters? They will stay there. You can see, if you were to judge, you've seen this in the Navy, where there may be officers who just don't have any fucking clue what grunts are doing. This is a noble who's like, okay, so servants are the people who get things ready for people, but you don't seem to have servants. So how does one go about getting a room ready then? He is trying his best to try and reciprocate your kindness, but you, I think, can recognize, having spent so much time in a hierarchical organization, you recognize that, like, he may not be equipped to, to do what he's trying to offer to do.
We will try and arrange that for you. Don't worry about that. We will get it done. And he will make his own room. I'm not quite sure about how he likes to be, so... He is outside my experience.
I see. Then... well, I will retire. When you deem it appropriate, I will make my introductions.
Good. Till later then. I'll just finish stowing this bike. Mustn't have it rattling.
He looks down at it. It is impressive, if fragile. And he leaves and makes his way back up to the... Or he'll probably go back to the station and monitor the sensors once again. So it's shortly thereafter when you guys arrive. We'll get that in, along with all your loot. What do you guys wish to do next? You are still on Tech World. All of this has happened after you've loaded everything up and whatnot. This is in the span of about half an hour, because it does not take you that long. Let's see. Even at the slower vehicle at 10 and 60. Yeah, it's about a minute. It took you to go from the base to the ship. That's at your slower speed. So, what would you like to do as you guys are sort of unloading stuff? Ultima 1 is sort of taking in your ship. You're mail
Probably
carriers then.
Scandal.
He touches the canister and says, this is Imperial mail, is it not?
That's us, the Pony Express.
Yeah, I know, how quaint. But there we are.
And he's looking
This is
around.
what we call a FedEx quest, Ultima One.
Exactly. Are there weapons on this vessel?
No.
Sadly not. But we feel that it makes us less obvious. Draws less attention to us.
I am well acquainted.
Some of us feel that. Some of us do feel that. Not all of us feel that.
Virtue out of necessity.
Dane is getting away some of the carbon scoring on his armor. Come on, jeez. So then, have you any of you mentioned Teletaural to Ultima One?
No. Or have we?
No, I think Dr. Ilias made reference to another passenger who was maybe
Yes.
not a standard passenger, but not any details of names or why they're a passenger or anything like that. So I think Ultima One knows that there's someone else on the ship, but not any details.
So perhaps as you guys are unloading things, then I think Teletaural may come out of, now that you're all here, he has no reason to be on the bridge any longer. So he comes out and he sees Ultima One. And there's this, like, he's trying to take in what he is. And then he looks over at you, Captain Ganny, once again. And Ultima One will say, "Hello? I understand you are the other passenger." And Teletaural studies him, looks at you. "The captain has said that you were a captive." And Ultima One says, "That is correct." "You are no longer. This crew can be trusted." And he looks good. Teletaural says, "If you have the cargo, I can show this one to his quarters." And Ultimate One says, "Oh, that would be fine. Unless there is something you need assistance with." I don't want to make you guys feel totally inadequate, but he's also pretty fucking strong too.
Yeah, I think we've got the gist of this one. Yeah.
So, boys, we're just going to sit back and then let Ultima One do the rest.
It's been good. Thanks.
Yeah. We had a good run.
Yeah. Obsolete.
So, do you wish Ultima One is happy to help with whatever you're doing? If not, he'll take Teletaural will take him up and get them settled in.
Okay.
And what do you guys wish to
I bet
do?
it cooks as well. I bet it cooks really well. I bet it.
Probably it has information about that, but maybe not necessarily to your palate, and certainly not anything. He can eat to be polite, but not something that's necessary for him.
Yeah. No.
Guys, I've got the catalogue for the University of Space Phoenix, so I think we've all got a lot of time on our hands now.
Yeah, exactly. Then, Ultima One and Teletaural will head up. What do you guys wish to do next? Let's talk about what you're before you guys returned to Tech World. You were intending on making it to Hilfer.
Correct.
So
I assume that's still our objective.
all the mail you have is destined for Hilfer. So if you do wish to get paid, then
Yeah, we should.
probably should do that. Then what you will do is you did not seem to trigger any investigation from the Tech World starport when you guys landed, but you will need to make a similar check, or I will make a similar check as you guys are taking off once again. I really love how law levels work in this. It's such a neat little, mechanic. Then, let me see here. Have you done anything that would... There were shots fired. Okay. Yep. Breaking and entering. Yep. Okay. Firefighting involving armored travelers and military weapons. That does seem to be the case. However, this happened way the fuck away from anyone knowing, and you guys managed to shut down all that stuff. So, the law level here... Let's see. I just need to roll 2d6, and if the total is equal to or lower than the law level, you guys are investigated. I think the law level, because you are just... Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think the law level here was actually quite low, wasn't it?
4?
Yeah, I've got... I'll show you. I've got started doing something different with the... planets on here. Let's see your Borderland subsector. Okay. Here we go.
You'll all be glad to know I'm just updating life support costs into the spreadsheet. I just wanted to make that clear that I'm on it.
All right. Tech World 4. Wow. So it's not a very high law level. All right then. Let's see. All right, then. Anything else you guys wish to do before you take off and start making your way to the jump point once again?
I think Dr. Ilias will discuss with Alonso which cabin can be turned into a med bay most easily, or which one he would prefer to not have. Obviously, we're not going to take on passengers.
Yeah.
Although, well, we have 2 now. We started with 1, so who knows? But we're not really taking on passengers. We'll discuss with Alonso which cabin he's happy to sacrifice for.
Probably closest to the elevator, like at the end there, is most convenient. Like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can choose left or right. Which way do you like to turn when you exit the elevator, Doctor?
Right.
The right it shall be. I'll just clear the bed out for you.
Okay.
Or do you want to keep the bed? Is the bed
have
of use to you, Doctor?
half ton of storage left in the bed, but maybe you could make use of that anyway. Anyone have what do you call it? Is it mechanics in this game? Repair.
I've got mechanics.
Yeah, mechanics. That's what I'm gonna...
I've got lots of mechanics.
Yeah, so Captain Ganny could probably rework something to fit more. No, it's not going to be like a diagnostic bed, but it'll be more appropriate for standing next to someone on it, as opposed to, depending on how fancy Captain Ganny wishes to make it. Is it going to be a raising and lowering kind of thing, or is it going to be set at a certain height?
Oh no, we'll go for raising. I'm not letting anybody else touch the lovely ship.
Okay, so this will be a task to work on for this week.
Yeah. I've got a 4 in that, so
nice.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, go ahead and give us a. If you're just trying to, I think this will be an 8 for it to be raising and lowering. It's not a very complicated mechanism, but you're going to have to kind of kludge.
Oh,
well, I'll be 2 luck then. You want to spend 2 luck on that?
Double 1, yes, please. 2 luck. We don't want to have.
Okay, so that is going to be functioning, Dr. Ilias, in addition to whatever else you've got in there. There is also a commode that could be probably change over to like a surgical scrub, with some effort. What is happening? So Dr. Ilias is beginning to work with NurseBot and get the captain to get that thing set up. What are the rest of you guys intending on doing as you guys leave Tech World? Danny is checking the manifest.
I am.
Alonso?
Yeah, I don't know if there's much. Probably what I would be doing is documenting what happened, in his way, his creative way. Probably a little more exciting than. So he's probably speaking with Dane a little bit with whatever Dane's up to. He's following him around and sort of getting his word because he finds Dane's perspective to be very interesting. So maybe a little bit bothersome. I don't know how Dane feels about that.
No, that's all good. All I'm doing is just checking we've got enough air to survive.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Ultima respirates. If they do
I'm not counting. I'm not actually counting him. I'm counting Dilatora. I've got. I was being really sort of.
He most assuredly respirates.
Respirates.
Usually in the most sort of like very subtly sinister way he can.
Yeah. My perspective on Ultima 1 is that at the moment we don't actually really. He may seem nice. That's lovely. He may seem like a jolly decent kind of a thing, whatever he is, or she is, or it is. But actually, we don't know really very much about Ultima 1 at all. We don't know what its real purpose is. We don't even know, and this is just the cynic in me, that whether he's a plant. Now, it's unlikely, given the journey he's been on, or the journey that we think it has been on. They have been on, I should make a name. But because we do not know, we cannot completely trust. And that should be our position until we get more information, more data on what this individual is. That's my perspective. And because of his capabilities or their capabilities, they are a potential threat and a risk. But I haven't shared that with Tilatora. Tilatora may have his own view on that. That's my view, and we haven't done a proper assessment. But for now, we have to take it on good faith and weather eye.
Dan, as you guys leave Tech World for the second time, there is no indication that there has been any registering of your arrival, I don't want to say raid, your endeavor, and the leaving. No message from port control, anything like that. So this will find you guys on your way out to the to your jump point. I think you guys were taking an indirect route away from the station, so that people might be confused by what you're doing, which means you don't get to roll for weather in Traveler, but what you do get to roll for is the eventful week in jump. So Peter Simon, thank you very much for your article in the Journal of the Travel Aid Society, because it is a lot of fucking fun. Let's see here. You are the steward, Alonso. Why don't you give us a 1d6 roll?
Yes. Here we go.
Okay. Now would you kindly give us a 2d6 roll?
Whoa. It's frozen.
Okay.
There it is. Oh, perfectly average.
Okay. So
Average, quiet, nothing happening.
Uneventful. Dull.
Uneventful. Yeah.
Very dull. Very, very dull.
I don't think I
Time
showed you guys
passing.
this photo before, but you know the event where you guys found the Anchor's pet on board? This is the illustration.
Wow.
Oh, it's great. Ah! All right, so then, what? You guys are able to make your way out to the jump point, and it takes. Did we say how many days it was? It's like 2 or 3 days, wasn't it? It wasn't a full week to get out to the jump point, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of days, right?
Okay, so by the time that you guys reach the jump point, and you're ready to make the ready to commence the jump. Let's say translate to the warp. Different game, Madison. Different game. Then what you do, a ton of similarities though. Like you need to go to a jump point. You need to take turns out that either Warhammer 40k took some ideas from Traveller, or Traveller took something from the common kind of sci-fi, accepted rules of the world, and kept the same thing. Now what you have is a functioning med bed. So however else you wish to have your kind of your medical suite or your triage center or trauma center, whatever you want to call it, med bay, I guess would probably be the best one. You've got pretty much everything all the gear is set up in an appropriate way, mounted on the wall. You've got nurse bot in there. You've got your raising and lowering bed, so you are ready for someone to get shot, stabbed, clawed, bitten, poisoned, diseased. Oh, you will need to give some consideration to quarantine them. That would be something difficult to do here, because you're moving them through effectively the whole ship, and then into a place that has a shared shared not respirate. What's the word I'm thinking of here? The air system. Whatever.
Yeah, it's going to cost us in life support to maintain a separate stateroom.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, you reach out there, and then it is time to make with the jump. So, let's see. Ooh, that's space combat. Good. We'll
Are you
need
going to do it, Captain? Are you going to do it, or should we get Ultima One just to do it properly?
You gonna walk, Dane?
I have a plank here.
All right, so then first is the astrogation check, which will take no more than an hour. That's easy astrogation with education is the modifier. And you're with a -2 because you're trying to jump 2 distances. Let's in fact go to the sector map. I think this is the correct one. Yeah. So you guys are heading from Tech World to Hilfer. So that'll be 1, 2. So it'll be astrogation plus education -2. Who's making that roll? Who's our astrogator?
Dr. Ilias.
Dr. Ilias. Okay, then go right ahead.
-2.
No problem.
Woo!
No problem. All right. And then it is a matter of firing up the jump drive. This is an easy engineering J drive check with, let's see here, jump drive not maintained. Did you maintain the jump drive this month?
We did.
Okay. You're not using unrefined fuel, and you're not within the 100 diameter limit. Oh, you can do it. It's only a -4 to your dice modifier. So in the event you guys need to make emergency jumps, that's pretty quick, because that's basically 2d6 rounds of space combat before you could make a jump. So it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Not advisable, but I mean, not impossible. So then, who was making our... Is that you, Captain?
That'd be me, yeah.
Okay, go right ahead. Engineering with education.
Oh,
Yeah.
for heaven's sake.
Fortunately, that's still a success.
Can I please roll more than 4?
This is literally a
One
situation
time.
where you want, being smart than lucky is a little better than my usual maxim.
I think Dane will just pop his head around and say, "How was that for you, Captain?"
As I reach for my rifle.
All right.
Little shaky.
So then you are into that slipstream to take you to the warp. It'll be a week or so before you reach your destination. What do you guys wish to do with your week, if anything?
University of Space Phoenix.
University of
Studying
Space Phoenix for Captain Ganny, okay. Alonso, Dr. Elias, Dane, anything else you wish to do during your time?
I think Dr. Elias will take some time reflecting for a few days, seeing as, he used to work quite closely with Dr. Bancroft and to an extent was on similar path, but didn't go quite as far as Dr. Bancroft possibly could have.
Yeah.
So he'll reflect on sort of morality and ethics and research and pushing the limit and what could have happened. So he'll probably spend a few days mostly in his cabin, just sort of going through some old notes, just pondering where he sort of diverged and what
Were there
separates him
good
from
times?
Bancroft.
Were there good times with Dr. Bancroft, or did you guys hit butt heads right away?
I think we were rivals at university, but then later sort of on the research part, as I thought it, had patched things over and worked together well until a sort of final act of betrayal. So I think they were pretty from a sort of scientific research, expanding knowledge, some really good times in terms of just, having successes and bouncing off each other. And so he'll reflect on that for a few days just to sort of see.
Okay. Jeff, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I've lost your camera in Roll20.
I just lost you, but not everyone else. Oh,
that's
now
weird.
Reconnect.
Let's see, if you don't come back, I'll hit reconnect on my side.
Captain Gunny will pat Dr.
Gotcha.
Elias on the shoulder and say, "But look, when he defrosts in 20 or so years, maybe you can be friends again."
Dean and Alonso, what do you guys wish to do?
Good at Lacey. Well, the last thing Dane Loverick is going to do is reflect. So on that basis, he's going to hook up a drive simulator, and he's going to start thinking about how to fly ground vehicles.
Okay.
And he's going to do some research on that and some simulated training.
Yeah. Nice.
I think that Alonso would be spending his time observing Ultima One, not necessarily interviewing him, more like a character study, like learning, watching his mannerisms, watching him interact with the other people.
Yeah. So I think
documenting like how he would write a character like this in a new novel that's sort of forming in his mind. And so trying not to be too rude about it, but
yeah,
at the same time like highly curious.
Okay. Do you press him at all on his past, or are you just trying to just chit chat about like his observation and his insight on things?
Yeah, exactly. More like not necessarily trying to press him for his past too much, at least not in the first week. Maybe if he becomes comfortable with us, that's something he might bring up, but more just friendly at this point. And definitely like getting him involved in situations where I can see how he acts and see what his sort of like what his human interaction is like more than anything else.
Yeah. So I think you let's have you roll. Let's see here. We'll give
I love to roll something interesting.
Yeah, we'll get you some get some bones on this. Investigate. Why don't you give us an investigate check? And I think
because that's sort of what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think it'd probably be either social or intellect. I know social is supposed to be your ranking or whatnot, but the game treats it as charisma as well. So,
right, yeah, okay, I'll set it to social because that is sort of more what he's doing is trying to get him to get that kind of reaction more than like intelligently.
Okay. So what? You've been speaking to him for a couple of days, on and off. Trying not to force things. He has, if what I recall is correct, I think, Dane, weren't you here or here? And then because Tila Toro is staying in Alonso's quarters now, he has moved out to one of those two. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think you guys, the others are down here. The doctor,
right.
Anchor, and Captain are down here. You were either here or here, but I can't remember.
I can't quite remember. Tila Toro certainly is the one at the top.
Yeah, Tila Toro is now in. This was Alonso's quarters, and now he's given it up for Tila Toro.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
I want to say this is the one you had because it shares a wall with Alonso.
Yep.
Could
be. Yeah, happy with that. I think when things were being a bit difficult, I think I took one down the bottom of the corridor near the exit. To
maybe that's right. Yeah. Right, because your problem guy was there, right? The pirate.
That's
Alheim?
right.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you're across from the. Okay.
I think I was there.
That's handy. Okay, given your line of work. Make sure you get that medical insurance topped up. So then Alonso, Alonso, are you here or are you here now?
Probably the one on the right.
Okay.
Right by that one.
Yeah, so you can hear through the bulkhead kind of what's going on in there.
Exactly.
So you are perhaps busy writing away on something, and you get out to go and speak to. I will say that just for ease, that Ultima One is going to be going in here for making use of it. There's a computer station in there and whatnot, so he'll be happy to make use of that. You go to check on him, and he is not in his quarters. But if you check in to the lounge, because there would be, I imagine there's a porthole in there to be able to see what's kind of going on. You can see that he and Tila Toro are speaking to one another.
Oh.
And if you open the door to disturb them, what you can hear is that the two of them seem to be speaking a language you would guess at being Aslan.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they're talking, they look over, and Ultima One says, "Oh, hello, Alonso."
Greetings.
Tila Toro looks
so
up.
far?
Writer.
Soldier? I don't know. I guess it's something like that.
Bristles at that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. It was meant to be like that.
It's probably not the fact that you're referring to him as being someone who, wages war. Remember, he seems to be Aslan of station. So referring to him as soldier instead of lord or, whatever. That would be likely his thing, but he doesn't make anything of it.
Okay, maybe I wouldn't use the word. Maybe it'd be more like warrior then, or something like.
Yes, then he would take that fine. Yeah,
I guess it would be more the word.
I didn't think you were trying to be insulting with it. So
no, like no more than he was by calling me a writer.
Exactly,
like, it was just like calling me my station, right?
Yeah.
May I join you, gentlemen?
Ultima One looks at Tila Toro and he gestures. Ultima One looks back and says, "It seems that we have seen some similar destinations. I spent some time in the Hyrate, and I was discussing my experiences and observations with Tila Toro."
Oh, yes. Interesting.
The prisoner has traveled quite far.
That's what I gathered as well.
He kind of looks over at him. It is a source of comfort to speak in my native tongue with someone so freely again.
Oh, of course. Makes sense. That would be comforting.
Sit.
Is there any other comforts I could fetch for you too?
Teletoroll shakes his head. I am well cared for. And Ultima One says, I am fine, thank you. Did you need any assistance, or the captain?
No. My job is to look after the passengers and make sure that they are comfortable and enjoying their time here with us.
Teletoroll looks at you. You are a servant.
Yeah, well, a fancy servant, let's say.
I think Ultima One looks at him and says, I think perhaps, and he says a word in Aslan that you don't recognize, and Teletoroll nods as if like, oh, he understands.
Right.
And he looks... Host?
Host, that's a good version of the word. Yes, a host.
That is a... It is a great responsibility.
It can be more difficult than some would think.
Are we still on track to arrive at Hilfer?
Yes.
And have your crew discussed where next to go? I still have pressing matters on Sync and the world before we reach Tyok.
Do I know this?
Yeah, you would know that, yeah. Jeff may not remember, but one of the things that Teletoroll needed before, they didn't know this before they got him from Hernan's claim, but when they collected Teletoroll from Hernan's claim, he made it clear there was 2 stops he needed to make before reaching Tyok.
Oh, okay, yeah. Your stops are still planned?
Good. Then?
Well, continue. And he would let them go back to their conversation and probably just they're in the lounge area?
Yeah, they're in the lounge area.
Yeah, I would just go to another table and take out my notebook like I'm working. And if you need anything, I'll be at this table. But really, I'm observing them more than...
Yeah, so they go back to the... go back to...
I also want to let them
Aslan.
to go back to his... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
so they're
part of
back
what
to speaking again. And would you give us a recon check there, Alonso? Please.
Recon. Which one's recon under?
Oh, and hold on.
I don't have it, I don't think.
Recon is, I think, intelligence as a default.
No, but what's the...
Oh, the skill you don't have?
Yeah,
Recon?
I don't think I have it, no.
Nice.
But I do have Jack of all trades.
You do. So, and what's your level in Jack of all trades currently?
Just 1.
Okay, so it'll be an intelligence check at -2, please. That's right, guys, right?
So I just click on it and hit -2?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
Okay, so to make that a success would be... Hold on. I was going to actually roll forward as if you would... Because you're investigate, I'm going to give you the benefit of that. As if it was a task chain.
No.
So that would have succeeded by 3, which means that's a 7. Then you would need to spend 1 luck to make that a success.
Yeah, let's spend 1 luck. Let's get some insight into what they're talking about, maybe.
So it's less so that you're able to pick up the... you don't have any proficiency in the Aslan language, and absent you having a vocoder like what Ultima One has, it's going to be fucking murder on the throat to try and replicate some of the sounds that the Aslan vocal cords are capable of replicating. It's also got a totally different structure than what you... It doesn't sound like animals like growling at one another. There's clearly a language there to it, but it's it's crafted from such unusual sounds that you really can't even pick up like tone of conversation from it.
Right.
So that joke about like it's hard to threaten in French and it's hard to say I love you in German is sort of the, you know, that sort of thing where it's really hard to judge what the, you know, what the context is. But what you can pick up, apart from the conversation, Ultima 1 seems to be, and maybe it's just because you're, you know, what Dane had commented on. Ultima 1 seems to be, you've been in a conversation where you are eliciting information.
Oh, yeah. Right.
That is definitely when one person is doing more of the talking and the other one is prompting with questions, that is collecting information. As a journalist, you would be very familiar with that.
Right. Okay.
So
I'll take note of it.
Okay.
I don't know that there's anything I would do about it, but
well, we'll leave that with you for now, and then why don't we we're at our mid-session break, and I'm pretty sure Anna has told me that my food service package is sitting outside, so I need to get my meals for the week inside. Fortunately, it's cold out. No, it's 4 degrees today, so I do need to get them in right away. But we'll be back in about 5 minutes, folks, and then we'll see what happens next. All right. Jeffrey, I know you have a 3rd edition player's handbook. Do you have a 3.5 player's handbook?
No.
I think you don't, right? When we played Barrow Maze, I think that was... We found that you had a 3rd edition, but not a 3.5.
I think that's correct.
Okay.
I have a 3... Yeah. I don't think I ever got the 3.5.
Okay.
Sorry, I did see that question, and I meant to answer
it's
it.
fun. Yeah, no, it's I've managed to track down answers from almost everyone in Night Below. So let's see. So my food was not here. Anna was just yelling. We had yesterday, holy smokes, we had Anna was going nuts during our afternoon game, and I couldn't figure out what maybe someone's putting, a neighbor was putting Christmas lights up or something like that. Turns out it was a oversized jackrabbit. A fucking jackrabbit the size of like a Cocker Spaniel.
Wow.
Yeah, it was huge. Like, those little bunnies you get in Manitoba? It's like 4 of those put together. And it's kind of funny because everything that changes, their coat or color of their coat in the seasons has done so. But we've already had all our snow melt, so it's this bone white jackrabbit sitting in a brown lawn. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, not the most camouflaged of critters, but James, I'm not sure if you're back, but your camera's not on, so if you are.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm back.
I've learned.
I always...
Okay.
I'm sparing you having to look at me.
No, not at all. Never a chore. Okay, so then we left with Alonso getting some insight into not only seeing that Tila Troll and Ultima 1 seem to be getting along, or at least interacting quite well, but Alonso had some suspicions about him. Is there anything else you guys wish to do with this week? Captain Hattie is doing his studies. Dane is doing his best, Mario Kart simulator. And Dr. Ilias is reflecting on, I suppose, what you've just done to Dr. Bancroft and what he has done, I suppose, to Ultima 1. Does Dr. Ilias spend any time with Ultima 1? I think you guys came to a agreement with respect to studies of him.
Yes, I think after a few days have passed, Dr. Ilias will approach Ultima 1 to start working out the details of that. I think we deleted all of the research Dr. Bancroft had already done, but Ultima 1 agreed that I could study his physiology to see if there's any sort of medical healing knowledge I can glean from him. So Dr. Ilias would approach him after a few days of reflection and going like, okay.
Yeah. So I think what we'll do with this will be it's not a task chain, but what is it? What do they call it when you got to build successes towards something in this game? Is that such a thing? An extended task, if I want to say. Task chains, time frames. Well, in any event, what we're going to be doing is adding up it is going to be a fairly hard thing, but when you reach a certain threshold, or when you reach certain thresholds, Dr. Ilias, every week you spend studying Ultima 1 will have you make a... Is it going to be difficult or very difficult? I think... depending on whether you're going difficult or very difficult, I will scale up the yield and the benefits from that. So depending on how deeply you wish to study this, if you fail it, nothing's going to happen. It just means that week you didn't get any insight. But as you build up enough effects towards this, I will figure out a way of rewarding you with that. Maybe it might be additional, XP for your specifically for your medical or like genetics related skills. It might be something financial you can cash in on. Maybe a combination of the two. Actually, that might. So I'd like to give you something to keep yourself occupied with and some tangible way to reward them.
Sounds good.
So what are you going for?
I think Lilies will start off with difficult, but not super difficult.
Okay, so difficult 10. Go ahead and give us a difficult roll.
Science genetics.
Maybe the difference would be that one will give you one of the two. Financial, you'll work towards a financial goal, you'll work towards an XP goal. The other one will give you both.
Okay, cool.
So currently it's towards 1, and I will randomly determine what it's going to contribute to. Okay.
Would this be science genetics or medic?
Probably science genetics, right? Because it's more of a, you're not like administering treatment or whatnot. You're trying to, I mean, I could see either. Tell me which one you think is more appropriate.
I think science genetics would be more appropriate for this.
Yeah. And I think
trying to understand him.
I can see both intelligence. Education would be relying on what you know to try and understand what was there. Intelligence would be trying to gain insight into something beyond what you've learned.
Intelligence in that case, I think.
Okay, now go right ahead. So that would be 4 luck to make that a success, and that would just give you a bare line, an effective 0.
No, I think I'll accept the result. I think Dr. Ilias is maybe a bit hesitant, given his reflection, and he might get carried away and super excited, just maybe approaching it very slowly. And the first sort of week is just setting up protocols and coming to sort of an understanding. So he doesn't learn anything this week. It's just sort of setting it up and keeping himself sort of in check.
So if I might, here's what I wonder if this is the situation, because you did have a slight insight into what to expect when you were given that piecemeal information from what Ultima 1 sent you when you first arrived on Tech World, right? So you may have been like, okay, I think I know what I'm getting into. But then once you were exposed to the actual thing, you're just like, what am I even looking at here, right? It's the equivalent of like when I was a kid, I played racquetball. So when I was an adult, I tore my Achilles playing squash because I was like, I'm gonna get back into squash. I played with a friend who played at a semi-competitive level the first time when I had not played in 25 years. And when you think that, like, okay, I can get this, I'm okay, and then you are around someone who is so much better than you, then like you might as well not even be there. I feel like that's the realization that maybe you had here. It's just like, this is just so much more complicated and so much more to understand than what I conceive of. The upside being is like, how much are you going to learn from this when you sort this out, right?
Humbling and exciting at the same time.
Absolutely. Excellent. Another thing to think in, if you have ways of making creative use of any of your new suite of diagnostic tools, feel free to do so, because I think some of those give mechanical bonuses.
I'll have a look at them.
Okay. Anyone else have anything they wish to do during this week? Alonzo, do you share your concerns over Ultima 1 with Dane once again, or?
Yeah, I think I would mention something.
Is this something you would come up in idle chat, or something you would make a point of talking to him about?
Would I make a point? I think it would be more just in conversation.
Sure. So maybe
I wouldn't.
Let's set the scene then with you guys. You're coming down from the top, and you're passing. You can hear the heavy sound of metal hitting metal because you're passing by the gym where Dane is, in a break from his training on the grav cart or the G-bike simulator. He's getting his sets in, as it were. He's praying at the Iron Church, as no one says. So What do you say?
Yeah, I think I would just, start with conversation about Ultima One. So, have you spent any time with our new passenger, Dane?
Oh, you're muted, Graham. So, Timo?
Not really. I haven't spent really any time with them at all. I'm kind of hoping that Dr. Ilias will not get too lost in the depths that Ultima One seems to have, and will come up with some view about whether they are a threat or a benefit. I don't yet know a great deal about Tila Tora and what he wants to achieve exactly. But I think it's insightful to see that Tila Tora is already treating or using or thinking of Ultima One as an asset. And I think he's probably right to do so. And given our passengers' history and some of the challenges he's going to face, he'll be looking for any edge that he can.
That's something we're saying. I can't remember which ones you missed, Jeff, just from your comment before about missing Tila Tora's stop-offs. Dane, do you want to tell Alonso what you mean, what your understanding of what happened to Tila Tora, why he's going back to Tyok, and why you guys are taking a roundabout route there?
Yeah, he's going back, as I understand it, to effectively his house, to his family, to his clan. He is clearly a wanted and needed leader. And it seems that the time has come that he is being effectively, I would say, called back by his clan. And he has not exactly been that keen, I would say. He recognizes the duty, but it doesn't seem to be filled with any great joy that he's going to be taken back across into the Hyrate, from where he was hiding. He was hiding sort of in the Borderlands, and I'm going to say hiding.
Yeah.
Perhaps he might not put it that way. But
I think he would definitely, he was most assuredly hiding from his enemies. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He was traveling under a pseudonym that was a Vargar word, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got plenty of people who don't want him to get there. And that's not just corporates. It's probably internecine, Aslan conflict. And so he is on his way back.
I was observing them together, Tila Tora and Ultima One, and I have seen many an investigative interview, and though I don't speak Aslan, it certainly seemed to me that in a friendly way he was interrogating him for information.
Yeah. Interesting.
Whether that was just pure curiosity or something more, I do not know.
I think it's probably right for now to assume it's something more until we know more.
Well, we may want to keep a close eye on Ultima One. They are a complicated being.
Yeah. Who is worth millions of credits.
Where is Mr. Gruxon and Mr. Tian?
There they are.
They'll certainly pay well.
Yeah.
Oh man, and that they for sure. I know we said that you guys couldn't find a ship that they had, but they for fucking sure have that awesome bounty hunter ship in the new small craft guide. Oh, that thing looks awesome.
Right.
Which is to say, in the film version of our campaign, at the mention of that, we cut over and we see them in their ship in the warp as well, or in the whatever, not the warp, but the what is it? What are they called in this campaign?
Jump space.
Jump space. Thank you. Yeah. And then back to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for putting them on the screen. I'm now going to click them off. Look at their ugly mushes anymore.
Oh, and the smell of that, non-tobacco cigar too.
Yeah,
it is a scent you will not soon forget.
No. So yeah, okay. Well, to keep an eye on this Ultima one.
Not to generate too much alarm for you, but.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think for now he's got to be seen, or they've got to be seen as, at least a risk.
Yes. Fair.
Okay. So it is after Alonso, you go on to the crew galley where you were going to go grab a bite to eat. Dane, you go back to, you're thinking of finishing up your workout, but I think from what you've said before about how suspicious you are of Ultima 1, perhaps it just, you need to be doing something other than,
Yeah, I need a break from parallel parking. It's doing my head in. Yeah.
So you're, one happy or one way of sort of getting yourself away from that is, because there's only so many times you could tear apart, put together your gun once again. Given your role as kind of the quartermaster of the crew, you are doing a second search of the manifest. Just to double check, you move things around.
Yeah.
And I have some happy news for you.
Really?
It turns out you actually may have undercounted things. Because the mail that's in here and that is stored in, there's someone either undercounted or whatnot. There's more being delivered. You're going to earn 1% more on this trip than what you expected.
Oh, that's good. That is good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll note that.
Not every eventful thing on your jump is going to be, stowaway critters or murderous passengers. Sometimes it'll be beneficial. So yeah, just for whatever reason, when you were loading up, Hernan's claim wasn't exactly a, oh no, you got this when you were on Gibraltar Station. Yeah, maybe it's just that because of the heightened security there on Gibraltar Station, they just overlooked, what was going on. So you'll earn 1% more from this trip than what you had anticipated.
That's 1,624 credits.
Nice.
Drinks all round. Drinks at Hilfer.
Nice. Yeah, given that it's a desert planet, you will probably need to pay a premium for liquids. So, yeah. So then, this would occur, I think, during one of your. This is like the 6th day in now. Dane is riding high on some unexpected windfalls. Captain, how do you take the news? I guess Dane, do you share it, or you wait till you cash in and then you share it with the captain?
Do you know, he probably would wait. Because it is only 1,600. But it's nice. I don't want to get too excited over 1,600. I just wait for the sarcastic reply.
Well, I just said too. You know what? I was wrong. We actually got more, and well, let's just stop on you were wrong. Because that could have gone either way. Yeah. So it is when you are testing Ultima 1 again, Dr. Liz. I imagine you've got. Now that you've got your med base set up, you're spending, 4 hours a day or 2 hours a day just conducting some scans. Probably not 4. That's probably a lot to ask of him, but like 2 hours and then like registering the data or whatnot. And you were meeting with Ultima 1, and it is just the two of you in the medbay, which is why his sudden attack is so. No, I'm kidding. What he says is, Dr. Ilias, what do you know of your passenger? Of Tila Toro?
Not much. We're escorting him home to his people. I assume you've spoken to him and have gleamed a bit at his passages. Not to everyone's liking, so we're taking a slightly circuitous route. And I'm not very much au fait with Aslan politics. I don't know much about the ins and outs of why some would not wish him to return and why others would wish him to return, but our job is to get him to his destination safely.
Do you have any training in the psychology of Aslan?
None whatsoever. Do you? Is it part of your vast database of knowledge?
This was less training, more practical experience. I spent some time in the Hyrate before I returned to the Borderland, before I returned to the Trojan Reach. And I learned a great deal about them and their ways. You say Tila Toro is hiding from enemies?
Yes, he's mentioned enemies, which is why we're taking these detours, and I don't know who these enemies are. It's not shared any great detail, but there might be pursuers. But wait, have you picked up any signals?
Well, while we were transporting from, while we were traveling from Tech World to the jump point, I took the opportunity to update myself with the situation in the region. I prefer to stay informed if I am to be a helpful member of the crew, a productive member. Are you familiar with the recent events on Aaron Sear? And it's been a week or so. Why don't you give us... This is going to be an easy... I think easy... either education or intelligence check. Dealer's choice. Oh, yeah. So you absolutely remember. Aaron Sear, you may remember, was the place that was a mixed human and Aslan colony just north of the or north, but coreward of the what do you call it? The Drift's Edge. Drift's Edge chain cluster? Drift's Edge cluster, I think is called. And it was attacked by an Aslan group, an Ihate. The Ihate are the kind of like warlike second sons who want to go and make their names for things. What you'd heard in kind of scuttlebutt and gossip in some of the places you've been so far is that the sky was filled with the Aslan ships and whatnot. And you maybe communicate that to him, and he says, it does not... That seems to be what is correct. That seems to be the accepted narrative, but it seems as if the Ihate attack was more modest than expected and only thwarted by the very timely arrival of mercenary forces. Of interest, the leader of the Ihate forces was not found. They have not recovered his corpse, no verification of his death, and it seems to be popular opinion that he is on the run, as they say. They have not given name to this, at least I have not seen it, though it seems that the failure of this Ihate's invasion, the Aslan do not see conquest in the same way that humans do. If one is able to seize a holding, if you will, whether that be a fortress, a home, land on a planet, or even a colony, it is fair spoils of war as far as the Aslan are concerned, so long as the war was honorable. Dishonorable war is not seen truly as a failure. But when one fails at honorable war, the consequence for that is seen as honorable as well for the unsuccessful belligerent to face those. As you may imagine, there is much dispute among the Aslan when something is honorable tactics and is not. I will spare you the digression, but there's a great deal of Aslan thought on the War of Assassins. You say that you collected Teletoroll as a passenger not long ago, and you are destined for Tyok. There are many clans there, great and small, and there are enemies of those in the worlds we will pass to reach there. I ask about the training you have in Aslan psychology because, as you can imagine, as a honor-focused species, it requires a different approach to the treatment of psychological conditions. In my experience with the Aslan, I would characterize Teletoroll as deeply conflicted. He seems to have, in seeming equal measures, anger and sadness. And that is not an unusual circumstance when one structures and values their self-worth through complicated regimens of honor and conduct. It can be quite taxing psychologically. But even so, he seems extraordinarily troubled.
Yes, I had noticed that he seemed conflicted about going home. Not to the depth of your analysis, I must admit, but there seemed to be a unhappiness or a conflict of not wanting to go home but having to go home. I assume honor bound as he might feel he is. Do you think he would be a danger to the crew? Would the one side or the other side win over? could his anger boil over and thwart any attempts to take him home?
When one fails in their endeavors, even as an ihate, not a heir, the shame of the individual will... You're familiar with the traditions of the samurai on old Earth.
Vaguely, yes. One of Alonso's books mentions it in more detail.
There is a concept in the structure of their culture that was one who was both of the ruling station but utterly apart from it. They called them wave men. An ihate is not such a disconnected, lone, noble warrior. They are still part of their family, and as such, when shame comes to an ihate, it flows to the family and to all the families allied with their clan. As such, an unsuccessful, and what some are seeing and or communicating as a attempted massacre, that stain would bleed across clans. And the way to absolve oneself of that is by facing justice. They have a long tradition of ritualized combat. Ritualized not only in the purpose and meaning, but the execution of it. Those who wish to maintain their honor, is the phrase in to throw a fight. If a dishonored ihate returns, faces combat, and throws the fight, there is nothing seen as dishonorable in that, so long as it is not so obvious. It is, in a way, a ritualized killing of the self to restore honor. But if they are not permitted to do so, that stain remains and can be a source of weakness in the politicking within the Hyrate and the Reach. I am speculating a great deal based on news reports, I realize. But there is something deeply troubling your passenger. And I am curious why or what he hopes to gain from stopping. If one is willing to face justice and restore honor to the clan, why make it a scenic whistle-stop trip?
To draw out the inevitable, to set affairs in order.
It could be.
Well, I'm sure Dane or the captain wouldn't speak so freely, but we don't actually fully know who is sponsoring our courier service in this case. I've pondered if it's enemies or allies of Teletoral's clan, and both will probably have to gain from it. But as I said, I'm not very familiar with Aslan politics. It has given me much pause for thought. Do you mind if I share these observations with my crew?
I shared them to be of benefit for the crew, and I don't intend to speak out of turn. I share my concern for Tila with you out of concern for him. He is in a great deal of pain. And you are the ship's physician. I trust you to do with what I have shared as you see fit. Now, I believe you're going to conduct another scan.
If you permit it, yes.
Certainly. So, you still have a day or two before you guys reach Hilfer. So would Dr. Ilias like to bring that to the crew's attention, or does he keep it to himself as he speaks to Tila Toral?
No, he would. I think he would bring it to. I assume we have some regular crew catch-ups, or we're just the crew with neither of our passengers joining in. So I think he would bring it up during one of those.
Sure.
Because he's hoping that.
I assume you guys have kind of like meals together. You started that tradition on that boat on Spurl, so perhaps you're carrying that forward now.
Maybe.
Yeah. And he's hoping that Dane has a better understanding of this warrior honor nonsense than Dr. Ilias has. He won't phrase it like that.
Yeah. So how do we'll set concerns. Everyone is sitting down for the meal where you're going to bring this up. How does Dr. Ilias bring this up?
As it's in there, let's say Dane and the rest of you. Ultima One approached me with some observations which I would like to share with you all to get your input. They concern our other passenger.
Oh yeah.
And I will admit I'm not familiar with the politics behind it, but there was an attack recently on Aranseer.
Recently? Okay. Yeah.
You guys saw that. Captain Gannian, in particular, you remember there's been a lot of talk about shifting forces towards the Aslan front.
Hotspot. All going wrong.
Yeah. But Ultima One very strongly implied that our passenger is potentially, allegedly, the warlord behind the attack. And was either or not fought with what some Aslan would deem honorable or non-honorable means, and that him going home is part of some redemption, but he's in pain, our passenger.
Has he failed?
Conflicted.
Has he failed?
The invasion of Aranseer was unsuccessful. Like news-wise, factually-wise, yeah.
Okay.
Repulsed by mercenaries.
Yeah. So to the victor goes the spoils. I mean, he's not a victor.
Dane, would you give us a tactics roll?
Sure.
I'm assuming you guys are like all hip young modern folks sitting around with your data pads, able to access stuff. If you give us spend 1 luck, I have some insight for you.
Okay, if that's okay, let's do that.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So, because you've got it fresh in your mind, you remember the ex-mercenary who was serving with... It wasn't Judica, it was their rival. Or not the rival, but the other, PRQ.
Yeah. She was quite good, wasn't she?
And I mean, a former mercenary, and it was... I think Executive Outcomes, I think, was the name of the...
Yeah.
Yeah. So perhaps it's because, this is the second time executive outcomes has come up in, in the past month or so. What is either, and I'll let you decide whether you believe in good fortune or not. Either the arrival of an enormous supplemental mercenary force from executive outcomes was extremely well timed just before this unexpected invasion from the Ihate came, or someone knew that they needed to have an overwhelming force to drive off an invading army.
Yeah, it's almost as if they were tipped off.
So forgive me for interrupting it. So I think that's Dane. Maybe that's been something that's been bugging you about this Aaron Sear situation, and now that it's been brought to your attention again, you're like, you know what? You're talking about dishonorable combat. Yeah. Sneaking forces in. Yeah. Maybe you've been looking a little bit at Aslan. Kind of like codes of conduct, as it were, because of that hand-to-hand fight that you guys had. And yeah, that kind of shit is absolutely considered dishonorable.
Yeah. Sneaking
in forces to ambush people. As the Aslans say, it's just not cricket. So forgive me, Dr. Elias, you were saying.
Yeah, he'll turn to Dane and say, so I don't know the background, you know Teletoril better, but Ultima One seems to think he's very conflicted and possibly a danger to himself, or is returning home to face some kind of justice by combat, some trial combat with the outcome potentially predetermined.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he was responsible for the deliberate prevention of that Ihate attack, and did it in such a way that would draw dishonor, then that would explain a great deal. It may also trip into different clans effectively looking to fight against each other. Maybe that might be part of it, or different sections of a clan. So he had some reason to either protect that particular world, or wished to blunt the attack from a rival house clan. There could be a number of reasons why he did that, if that is what he did. That might explain why. That would explain how hurt and aggrieved he is, and how that is playing against his clearly still very live sense of Aslan honor.
So tactically speaking, just to game this through, you guys know that I can't remember if it's Pal or I think it was Bernie. Bernie might have been the one where there was a substantial. That's the one with the Dranaxi. Like legacy base, isn't there? Or was it there or PAL? There's one of the two. In any event, what's important is you may remember that the relatively large Aslan population that is there is a member of a clan that is rival to the clan that dominates on Tyok. If Tyok is home, whoever the clan that has sort of the breachhead in here, they are enemies of the dominant clan on Tyok. And if you were, as the enemy clan, to gain a beachhead there, setting aside the Aslan are definitely a martial species. They don't only do that. They know that there's lots of money to be made through trade as well. And having a foothold that far up in the Trojan Reach. Just if you're understanding what the broader consequence of this might be, Captain Gani is and Anchor, for that matter, are both familiar with, you know, what the grander strategic goals. Here's the Aslan Hyrut with Tyok. Where is it here? There's Aaron Sear. There's the Imperium. So whether that is a military, trade, like mercantile, or both advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they could be looking for a jump-off point to just extend their influence into Imperial space. Never mind anything else.
Yep.
It might not just be about, you know, I don't know, trading baubles. Could be something a lot more.
Conventional wisdom is that it's only a matter of time before the Imperium and the Hyrut come to blows over the Reach. But
yeah, well, that would make sense tactically then.
Sorry, Dr. Elias, I interrupted you once again.
So Dane, you seem to think that it was Tilatoral who thwarted potentially by revealing the attack.
Yeah.
Ultima 1 seemed to be an impression he was leading the attack.
Okay.
And
Could
failed.
Okay.
We don't know which clan attacked, which high rate polity they belong to. That is not.
We said that he's heading home. Home being
Tyok.
Yeah. And was it the clans from Tyok that undertook the attack? Did you say, Kevin?
It was.
I think we know.
The current inhabitants of Aranseer are allied with a clan that is an enemy to the dominant clan on Tyok.
Right.
If he is returning to Tyok, it is likely that he is a member of their clan. Yes. And I think he's referred to it, speaking to you guys, as going home.
Yes, he has.
We were told it was his family that were hiring us.
Yes. When you spoke to, what's her name? The Ergonal. No, that's what they called him. Whatever her name was. Amalday. Yeah, and it was an Aslan clan that paid Amalday to transport him. And it was the Eowoi clan. I'll put in chat what Eowoi. Eowoi is one of the lesser clans allied with the dominant clans on Tyok. They're the ones who are paying to have him come back. I think your investigator, once you guys get out of here and are able to access the kind of wider net once again, you may be able to have more pointed investigations, and you may be able to uncover at least a prevailing opinion as to what clan the Ihate was a lot allied with. If you need that further bit of assurance.
Yeah.
What that would also mean is that if Tilatoral is there, you are traveling through effectively enemy territory to get there.
Right.
And Dr. Elias, I interrupted you once again.
No, I think that's all Dr. Elias has to. So he'll update them, and then he'll listen to advice from Dane or maybe the captain who have maybe more experience with these sort of space politics and I've spent most of my life in a lab, so he's happy to. He will probably point out that we would like to help Tilitoral, but he understands that the cultural differences, just chatting about it would probably get my throat ripped out. So that might be something for Dane to consider if we should approach it, or if we are aware of the difficulties that we might face the closer we get to Tyok and the more embroiled all of this is in the local galactic politics. So he's shared it with the crew, so we're aware, but we'll happily take advice on how to proceed or what to do next in this. Or can just be aware of it and not do anything for now. Just keep an eye on Tilitoral.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately and brutally, our job is to get him there. What he's done, what he yet might do, and how conflicted he might be about that, on one level, is irrelevant. It is crucially important, of course, to understand it, because we may understand better what we face and how difficult it's going to be to get him there. And I think I feel a bit conflicted about how far we burden him with questioning of things that perhaps in a sense and ultimately means nothing to us in terms of the contract that we have. But I'm happy to take a crew view on that.
Captain Alonso?
You signed up for it, so we'll follow through for now.
What could we do to
exactly
ease his trouble?
And why would we?
It is his bed. He should lie in it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So one thing that you would be aware of, Dane, is that whatever shame, there is absolutely shame to be carried for an unsuccessful invasion. If, however, the opposing force was dishonorable, that same weight of shame that is burdening his family or his clan and their allies would immediately be turned around. It may be difficult to apprehend how consequential the concept and the perception of honor is among the Aslan, but it's significant. So it's not only a matter of if there was evidence of dishonor on the part of the defenders, that not only exonerates Tilitoral, but it becomes a weapon. It's not just a shield to protect him, it is a sword with which they could attack their foes and put them in the disadvantaged position that his family's allies are right now. But how do you do that when you're the only person around and on the run?
Well, I guess you try to establish an advantage on the way. And maybe that's what his critical business is before we get to Tyok. That's what I'd do.
So
I think we're going to have a lot of fun on the way to Tyok.
Oh, there is one thing to consider then. If there is anything to be found, this is about build on your tactics roll here for something to consider, Dane. If there is any evidence to be found of this, do you think the enemies know that?
Well, again, if I were them, I'd assume that there's every possibility.
So you may best be prepared for not simply a stop off fond farewell. There may be, if he is looking for what you suspect, there may be more call for that armor of yours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's not just going to be a guy with a cigar either.
Has Dane faced Aslan forces before?
I think there is a good 50-50 chance that odds are he has. But he hasn't.
Okay.
He hasn't particularly. He's probably studied them in tactical school, but it's all simulations.
Well, and the closest equivalent, if you're like an orbital drop marine to, drop in and kind of run covert things, probably, I know I've talked to him on a fair amount today, but probably the equivalent would be Aslan assassins. So, then, anything else that any members of the crew want to share or discuss about this development?
No. I don't think now's the time.
Yeah, just keep we're aware so we can keep an eye on it and see what develops on our little stops along the way.
I'd quite like it to come from him rather than it have to come from us to him. And maybe now that we've got a bit of a better idea, we'll see if we can get him to come to be a little bit clearer with us. But I think we need to be in a position where the odds and the stakes are raised for him. And I think that's coming.
Have you guys given thought to where you're going after Hilfer? And we discussed that in the abstract before.
Drenax, I thought.
Where are we going next?
Drenax.
Was it Sync? Oh, sorry, what did we say? Sorry.
Drenax to go see Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Now that is going to be a fun voice to do. I no joke. It was a game that Arlen ran years ago now, like pre-fucking COVID. It was Ash game that he ran, and I played a thief that was based on Brian Blessed's personality, and I spent so much fucking time listening to his stuff and trying to emulate it so I could do a full. He's so much louder than you think. So it's gonna be great. All right, so the Drenax will be the next destination after that, and then where from there? Just so I can, from a metagame perspective, so I can kind of prep accordingly. The idea is to go to Drenax, and then where? So you need to be at Sync and the World before you hit Tyok.
I mean, could we bounce back to Hilfer?
You have how many more weeks left until you...
Oh, right, yeah. What was our contract? How many weeks?
Contract was, I want to say 16 weeks?
16 weeks.
Let me double check here. 16 weeks. And thus far, it's been from Argona. It was... Where did you go the first time? Was it in Nurin? Yeah, because they got to Gibraltar Station, right?
Yeah, we had an extra week.
1, 2. This will be your third week right now, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but plus all of the toing and fro.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to add on. So
say 4 weeks. So you got about 12 weeks left to go. Anna says about that.
Okay.
All right. So you will have about 12 weeks to go, 3 months between when you arrive on in the Hilfer system and when you go. Oh, right, because there's the get toing and froing from the jump point, isn't there?
I've got it as currently we're on 5 weeks, but that's...
Yeah, 5 weeks. Okay, so you have 11 weeks to go then. Yep. So, Drenax is the next. Where then, guys?
What do you want to do?
Yeah, because if we went straight, that would be 2 weeks to sink, 2 weeks to the world, roughly, given the toing and froing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another 2 weeks to Tyok. So that'd be 6 weeks if we went straight, in inverted commas.
Yeah.
Which would give you, what, 5 weeks of wiggle room?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Surely we wouldn't need. I mean, the other way we could do it, we could do dry nax to Tyroa,
Yep.
and then from Tyroa actually back to something like there, and then across to Pal, and then sink, and then across.
How long would that? That'd be quite a long time, right?
That would be quite a long time, actually.
So
wouldn't it?
it would
That would
be, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then you'd be having to go to Tyok right away.
But we're slightly out.
So otherwise we could go to Drinax, Katura, and then Tyok, and then sink.
If you
the
reach the
world.
Tyok system, it's a pretty good chance if you get the system, that's where the vast majority of any enemies will be. So you can, it's not a guaranteed thing, but there is a substantial risk of getting to Tyok, and they may be much more actively searching for any Aslan on here and have more resources.
It feels to me like we should do plan A of those two plans, have the wiggle room, and vary it depending on what we want to do.
Yeah, and just to say, again, it's not a guarantee. There is, I just noticed there's a gas giant there. So if you went there, scooped the gas giant, and then made the jump, that's a possibility too. How many weeks would that be?
It depends how patrolled that system is, and you know, if they're patrolling, they will look to have some sort of sensor arrays or ships at refueling points, to catch anyone trying to do frontier refueling.
Yeah.
So there's risk even there, but
Well, we go to sink the world and then wait till we want to get to Tayok.
yeah, could do
Because the
that.
world's got squat on it. Well, it's an E7. I wasn't reading the whole code, but it's got a gas giant and it's E7, so it's pretty desolate.
Yeah. The world, hold on, I can tell you.
The sink is a D5, isn't it?
No, it's a puppy.
Yeah, but if we went to the world and then stayed there...
Oh, I see what you mean.
leave.
I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's tech nothing, virtually. Or tech 7. Law level 1, is that? Yeah.
Yeah. Sync has those, largely it's those monastics who like throwing things in a lake.
Oh, yeah.
I love Sync.
Wow.
And then on the world, yeah, it's a pretty worn down installation. Yeah, it's sort of a backwater port that you'd be showing up at for the world. Not right here.
I hear it has cantinas and
It does.
droids that you're not looking for.
Most of the population of the world have no idea that anything exists outside their space station. They do not even know they're on a space station. They assume that the entire universe is a crumbling ring of corridors, hydroponic bays, overcrowded habitat modules. Only the command staff, the gods and rulers of the world, know the truth. This is not, obviously, that's not where you're staying. But, yeah. Sorry, someone is walking their puppy, like an actual puppy, across the street. So Anna really wants to say hi. So then, is that the plan then? Hilfer sink the world in Tyok? Remember, the more direct, on a metagame level, the more direct there is, the more likelihood that there is going to be an opportunity for them to respond. The less roundabout that They find it. They don't even necessarily know he's alive right now, right?
No.
Part of the reason that plays in is because the longer that you take to get there, the more likely they are to, and the more stops that you go off, the less likely they are to think that it's your ship that's coming there, and the less likely they are to have their guard up. But again, it's a chance.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you think?
I mean, Jeff thinks we should be very careful because he's played this game and knows how deadly it gets quickly. But Alonzo thinks we should take the interesting route. So danger, could happen. So, like, I think we go, like, are we still going to Drinax or not? Yeah. That's the first step.
If we go to Drinax, that'll add about 3-4 weeks.
Oh, I see. That's why we're. Well, I mean, we're supposed to take the long route. How much time is left exactly? 6 weeks?
Give or take 11 weeks. A little more than 11 weeks,
11 weeks. Oh, we have tons of time.
2, 4, 6,
Yeah.
8. We would just I suppose we'd have a week or so spare if we went to Drinax and came back. So Hilfer, Drinax, Hilfer, Sink, the world, and then Tyok.
Oh, because we can't make that jump.
From Drinax to Tyok?
No, to Victoria? Or we don't want to go there?
We have to go through Sink and the world.
There is one other option, actually, guys.
Okay. Then let's...
From a metagame point of view, then Kev gets to be Brian.
Well, and then certainly don't make the decision based on that. I'm happy.
No.
As we've seen, I can come up with NPCs I like playing anywhere. So, what I was going to mention is there is one other option that perhaps your enemies or his enemies will not think of. That is the collapsible fuel bladder. When you want to make the jump with a jump 1 engine from the Rift's Edge cluster into the Drinaxi chain, and you've only got a jump 1 ship, you bring a collapsible fuel bladder. So you appear, you refuel using that, you dump it, and then you make your jump again. So that is something that is mentioned. Tanks is sort of commercially available and designed to fit into the vessel's cargo hold. It does lose you some cargo capacity, but it would allow you to maneuver here further without having to stop and refuel, so that saves you one of the weeks on one of the jumps.
That's true. Yeah.
Like hitting different destinations, it helps mechanically for when I roll for what you're encountering as resistance, effectively. The more time you kill, the smaller the chance is that you're going to encounter strong resistance and that they will have prepared for you. It doesn't guarantee it, though. It is still a random roll.
Right.
Which is something I think is very cool about this adventure, is that it's all risk reward kind of stuff. Like you can make the absolute run directly to Tyok as soon as you get him. Stop off at the Sink, stop off at Sink, stop off at the world, and then go to Tyok directly. And still encounter. You may beat them before they know that they're expecting you, but the dice modifiers are better the more you fuck around. And I think you guys would all know this, but I'm not putting my thumb on the scale on this either. There is not a guaranteed outcome. We're going to see what happens.
Right. Well, I mean, there is some advantage to going to Drinax and then basically making a U-turn coming back. Like, it does really throw people off our trail strategically.
If you, let me just think here.
I don't know. So that'd be 2 weeks. If you got a bladder, that's 6 weeks there, right? 2, 4, 6. No, it's 5 weeks because you wouldn't be traveling. 7 weeks. 9 weeks. You would run the risk of jumping into open, empty space. And, I mean, we've never seen the dice go badly for you guys. So, I mean, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about.
I'm sure.
But it is certainly something that if someone is tracking you and keeping track of where your ship is, it would make no sense to them why the fuck you were suddenly... they would be anticipating, like you guys are doing, the Scotland Yard thing, where like, well, we know he moved too, so where did he go from here?
It's pretty hard to track as well. So we've got that in our favor.
Oh, yeah. Guys, think about this. If you disappeared from Drinax and reappeared on Sync, that's minimum 3 weeks before news gets back to Drinax that you've arrived at Sync, because World would only travel as fast as the mail would. So what do you guys think? What is the route we're going to take? Dr. Elias, have you any thought?
I think Dr. Elias likes the idea of the unexpected. Trying to throw people off our case by jumping in the middle of nowhere. Understanding there's some risks involved in that, but as we've seen so far, there's risks involved in all of this. But if that throws them off our case the most or confuses them the most, then that might be the best option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a episode of Firefly similar to that, and I think everything worked out okay.
Yes. No trouble at all.
Because jumping and having a problem in Hex 2225 would make the 259-day warp journey look like a picnic.
I guess another upside, Drinax is an extraordinarily advanced place, so there's probably any stuff you could conceivably want to purchase, you could probably find there. And I believe there's advantages you get for trade stuff when they're higher tech level too.
Yeah. I'll need to do some... We'll need to get a collapsible fuel tank as well.
To remind myself, were we told why we only have 16 weeks? Or it's just the contract says 16
The
weeks?
contract did not stipulate beyond what... beyond saying you had 16 weeks to deliver the cargo. Remember, originally, you thought it was just cargo you were delivering.
Oh, so we don't know if there's a court date we cannot possibly miss, or if it's just...
Yeah, what do you... I think you could safely make some inferences. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, the contract didn't give us any sort of window. And if we don't get in there in time, we don't get paid. Which is the most important thing, right?
Most definitely. So Hilfer does have the tech level on Hilfer is a 6. One thing I was when I was prepping for this, when we arrive in Hilfer, there is a downport and there's a high port. The downport is more developed than what the high port is, but because it's a B, there's also a lot more independent companies. It's less like corporate run than what a Class A starport is. It does, however, have a law level of 10. So it is a extraordinarily tightly run ship. There's a good chance of getting searched or having them do it, at the very least open up for investigation. Remember that being searched doesn't mean that they're going to do it. You can try and talk your way out of that or whatnot, but I only noticed that that law level is an A there, so that's what to expect there. So where are we going then? You don't need to decide that right now, but if I have something I can prep for ahead of time, that would be great. If you want to see how things go in Helfer and then plan from there, that's fine too.
Shall we just put a vote in to the chat?
Yeah, so why don't you put the route that you want to follow in there? Captain Ganny wants to go to Drinax.
Yeah.
Alonzo wants to go to Drinax.
Yeah. Typing it, but yeah.
Dane,
Both Jeff and Alonzo think it's smart.
Dr. Ilias, Dr. Ilias, you remember the scan you had of that Drinaxi noble you had as a passenger too, and like the amount you may learn from and on top of that, the level of technology that the flying city of Drinax is supposed to still have, the flying palace of King Oleb is supposed to have technology that rivals the highest of the Imperium. What scans and whatnot, additional information they may gain from that. Whether you trust the Drinaxi, of course, is another thing. All right, so then we are heading after Hilfer to Drinax. Is the plan then to go from Drinax to the middle of nowhere? And then to sink over the world?
To sink, I think.
So Drinax, middle of nowhere, sink.
We'll need to get collapsible.
We do the jump. We do the jump to the middle of nowhere at the start of a session when we've got all our luck.
That's the spirit. All right, so then I think we've got. I'm going to write this down. So Helfer to Drinax to sector 2225. Not sector. What do they call it in this? Parsec. Is that it? Parsec 2225.
Hex.
Yeah, hex. I don't know.
Hex, yeah.
I was going to do that because I've got. I'll show you guys just because you will be arriving without other incident in a moment here. I'll show you what I'm starting to put together for us for sort of like postcards for where you've been. I'm going to improve them over time, but okay, and then to sync. Okay. This. Mm-hmm. Oop, I just poked myself with a pen. This. Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm going to try and put more visual cues for the worlds you're going to. And then have the little, whatever it is, the universal codes on them too. I think I'm going to change the font though, because the name looks cool, but that is kind of illegible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then our session will end, unless there's anything else you guys wish to do while you are transitioning, then we will be ending our session. Whoop, I think here. Is that right? Yes. Well, you guys are arriving in Hilfer. So you are in the Hilfer system. We'll see what awaits you there in 2 weeks' time. So everyone gets your regular XP. And for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 15. 15, okay. 15 of our... I sat up playing Starfield too late last night, so my eyes are a little fuzzy today. I looked over at 15 and I'm like, did I just put down 15 as the name for it? I did not. Thank you so much for joining us for session 15 of our Borderland Run campaign. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There is also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, and we have a channel there dedicated to, let me think here, do we have one for Traveler? Or for the Borderland Run? I think I asked this each time.
That's the player one.
You do.
Yeah, there's the player one. Hold on, let's see here. Do I have a...
We also have a public one.
I don't have a public one yet. Oh, I do have a public one. Yeah, we do.
You have one, yeah.
Yeah. So we do. We have a channel. Look at that, dedicated to this campaign and most of the other games and campaigns we've run on the channel. You are more than welcome to join us over there. There's a really great community that has built up over the years over there, and you're more than welcome to join us. In addition to talking about the campaigns on the channel, there's finding a group channels and GM discussions and all sorts of non-RPG chats, video game chats, lots of great stuff. So you are more than welcome to join us over there. There is also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an outstanding selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs like Dragon Quest.
It's a great game. Everyone should run that.
They should. It's an awesome game.
I still love, we run our obscure things. I had 2 comments on Rollmaster session. Not a terribly obscure game, but Dangerous Journeys. Someone commented on one of our Dangerous Journeys sessions recently. I'm like, yes! Love it. So not only do they, if they do not have in stocks one of the hard to find and out of print games that they list, you can put it on a want list. They'll send you an email when it comes in, and you can pick it up at your leisure. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code FALLMUSER at checkout, and you will save yourself 10% in your purchase. And that will change as of January 15, 2024. So if you're listening to this after that time, come back to one of our more recent videos and get the more recent discount code. It'll be listed in the description of the video, as is the Fall Muser discount. There is also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. We have been doing so for about 4 or 5 years now, and it benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts in, I keep going into that, but even at present, there's like 4 different crisis locations where they're active. So for apologies, if you want to learn more about, I'm not going to specify them because it just sounds like it feels vulgar to be listing places that are in crisis, but if you follow the link that is down below, you can learn all about SOS Children's Villages International and the work that they do. All donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from their services. And as a small way of saying thank you, this year we have been running something called the Year of Ill Omens campaign, a 6-part campaign spread across space and time, where donors have been voting on where the game is going to be, when it takes place, what game we're playing, and what kind of characters we're playing. And the last session will be next weekend. And the generous donors have selected a game set in the 1980s, played with the classic D20 modern system, where our heroes will be a group of unlicensed paranormal investigators. So I really look forward to seeing the conclusion of that campaign. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our stalwart crew. So James, Graham, David, and Jeffrey, and Carl, we hope you are feeling better. He was feeling under the weather today. Thank you so much for playing today, guys. This was a great fucking session, and one of the reasons I love running Traveler. We had a nice run on a mission, and then we spent a lot of, or like an actual exciting, guns blazing adventure last time, and we got to spend a whole bunch of time talking about the NPCs and the consequence of having them around today. I fucking love that stuff. So, which is a long way of saying I'm really sorry for what's going to happen when you guys arrive in Hilfer. That's really, really unfortunate. But we'll be back in the Hilfer system to see what awaits our stalwart travelers and the crew of the Rift Wanderer in 2 weeks' time. Then we have one more session after that, and then we will be on break for the holidays. So we'll have 2 more sessions left this year in this campaign. But until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our stalwart travelers are finding that they have taken on board as passengers. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.